Greetings, fellow plumbers. Rhadamant here. Thank you for tuning in to Oxygen Not Included Aquatic. Episode 3, Setting Up the Start of Plumbing. So this is a total size of 96. It meets the requirements of a nature reserve, and as soon as I get that park sign, this becomes a nature reserve. And the advantage of having it be this room here is basically everything that happens within the colony has to pass through that vertical shaft. So having a vertical shaft be a nature reserve means that you can't avoid getting that bonus. You're basically guaranteed to get the bonus of a nature reserve every day. Whereas if you had a nature reserve off in the corner of nowhere, you have to pass through it for the benefit of it, which means it would be a lot more rare if it was inconveniently placed far away. So while we work on the nature reserve, I'm also going to try to tidy up. Just for my own benefit. My own preference. So I'm going to put all standard things in here. And then go through it and take anything that I don't want in there out. Because not everything that I would say is standard makes sense, like polluted dirt. I don't want polluted dirt in there. The reason I don't want polluted dirt in there is polluted dirt outgasses polluted oxygen. So it's best to have polluted dirt stored inside of a storage bin that is submerged in liquid, so that won't happen. Yeah. So, yeah, I like that setting for now. And then as we get, like, rotted food for the first time, and we get, like, you know, other things that you don't necessarily want to have stored, we'll be able to take that off of the storage settings. You know, we don't want sublimators in there. We don't want things that could melt. Sublimators being like bleach stone, which evaporates or sublimes, really, into chlorine. Would be an example. Or oxalite would be another sublimator. Oxalite's the sublimator that produced a lot of the oxygen initially for us. Where is oxalite? But that sublimes into oxygen. Blueprint. I'm going to do blossom seeds. Anyone that has watched any of my content knows I'm kind of like population growth adverse. Because in order to grow your population really quickly, you kind of need really efficient means to provide. Which I, at the moment, do not have. Uh-oh, this is not good. That sand is not going to stay there forever. I'm going to need to build a tile. Let's do 2 tiles to keep that from spilling in. And I mean, it would add to this water pool, but like still, I'd rather get ahead of that. So we're about a quarter of the way getting agriculture-ish for the sign we need. And then I'm going to have a tidy up. Oh, so here we go. Now we have polluted water. The polluted water is going to be outgassing polluted oxygen, which I'm actually kind of okay with. It's not really going to get us all that sick. But that's one of the reasons to set up proper plumbing, so that you don't end up in a situation where you have, you know, polluted oxygen being added into your colony. So that's the purple stuff, which carries food poisoning germs. Now, those food poisoning germs aren't going to mix with anything else. It's not going to ruin anything else. But, like, we're going to want proper plumbing to be able to deal with that in the long run. It's not super important for right now. All of those bad germs, I think, are contained. It looks like. So the accidental didn't use the sink for once. And also the other thing is, The wash basins, when it runs out of water, you don't wash your hands, whereas a plumb sink, as long as there's like plumbing, you will wash your hands. So the upgraded plumbing is a little bit more reliable too in that way. Another skill point. You are going to go for super hard digging, and then Rayvac, you're going to go for field research. Oh, let's also assign the appropriate hats. So field research and super hard digging. Not that it matters, but like, you know, for fun. So while we're working on the nature reserve, I'm just tidying up all the sand and soil that's spilled out everywhere, trying to make the map a little bit more clean, because one of the other morale bonuses and penalties is the average beauty over the course of the cycle or the day. So the more beautiful it is in your base on average, the higher the morale. So if we take a look now for, like, let's say Avalka, they have morale of 9. Interested skills learn 2, Great Hall 4, Standard 1, Latrine 1, Barracks 1, Downtime 1. Decor's last cycle, Poor 0. I got no decor bonus, and then Grizzly Meal -1. So if I make the standard amount of decor around our base nicer, we get some free, you know, free. Well, I guess it's not free. It's invested decor bonus. And that means, like, where they spend their most time, too. So, like, if I want to help Rayvac, I could beauty up the research room. If I want to help, you know, RCV, I could beauty up the farm. And that's one of the things I'm actually doing right now. I'm trying to make the farm a little bit nicer. Okay, the oxygen diffuser is going to want oxygen. So it's very breathable now, but it's not going to stay that way for long if I don't get oxygen in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mine up the natural back wall where the algae is in here. That will net me a whole lot of algae. And then I'll do the front wall here. But this tunnel here is, especially if this vertical column can reach maybe here, go all the way up through, this will be a really good amount of oxygen because we have a fluke coral here and a fluke coral here that are getting illuminated, and possibly fluke corals that I don't even know about down there. So this is a sort of a free oxygen project to be considered in the future, and maybe I'll add that to the poll. Speaking of which, next project pulls up. What do you want after I do the nature reserve? So nature reserve's research is about 2/3 done. And all I have to do is slap down a sign and I'm done. So after I do that, do you want tidal power? So I don't have to run on the hamster wheel anymore. Do you want plumbing? Do you want oxygen tunnels? Or do you want a crafting room? All pretty good, I would say, in terms of their use. Oh my god, it's taken so long to clean up these farms. Excavating all this soil, it all ended up here, and ooh, it's a lot. Kadrakaru, thank you for the resub. Welcome, welcome. Or the sub, not even resub. Pretend I'm illiterate, for my benefit. It'll make me feel better. So far, just to cover, agriculture is going to give us farming station, fertilizer, refrigerator. I'm not too worried about refrigerators. I don't want to spend a lot of power and produce a lot of heat for that, which is why I'm not investing in that just yet. God, RCV's just been cleaning up soil and dirt all day long. Good lord. And then Ravac, you are trying to supply water. Now I could try to make it a little bit more efficient to get to the pitcher pump from the research room. But, you know, that's not something I'm, like, immediately worried about. Now, the other thing is our kcals, our calories available, are going down. I'm not super worried about this yet, but we might want to introduce, like, another small soda cane farm. A lot of these soda canes are pretty well grown, so we're about to have, like, a big harvest to kick up those kcals. And then, of course, there's, like, the mussels around here that I could get, which I'm leaving in case we have an emergency. And then I can also enable auto harvest of a bunch of, like, the wild crops. Wild harvest does not kill them. It's not uprooting. It's just harvesting it for its yield. So, like, we have salty sticks here and salty sticks here. And there's going to be more salty sticks kind of everywhere that we could wild harvest. If we were running into food problems, like over here, for instance. So, I might consider it, but, like, for now, I'm okay. Mr. Krabs kind of embedded themselves in the tile there. Well, sorry, Mr. Krabs, but you're going to become food. And sometime in this next day cycle, we will have another skill point. Let's do crop tending. We'll have the means to build that nature tile. Time for eats. Not really. Just a little. Okay, we're almost there. Where are you going? Oh, yeah, there's a lot of lime down there. Why are we delivering lime to this box? Yeah, that was a mistake. This is a salt box. I'm just gonna call it salt box. No, don't disable it. That's not what I clicked. Silly. Alright, Team Plumbing has won. So, let's start excavating the area for plumbing. I had mentioned maybe wanting plumbing over here. Or over here. Generally, you're gonna want your plumbing zone to be like 4 tiles high. So you can fit showers. And this right here is a pretty reasonably large zone, which will have sinks, toilets, showers, and then possibly off the back here in this section, we'll have like a water filtration area. So the current priority is build a nature reserve and land for plumbing. Now, the only problem that I foresee here is access to this area, not messing with the sanctity of our clean water. So having the plumbing zone physically separated from the water so that you don't have any cross-contamination. Alright. So about plumbing. We're going to need a whole bunch of stuff to get it going. So we're going to need plumbing for pipes, pumps, vents, and liquid bridges for, and then that will lead to sanitation for laboratory, sinks, showers. We already know how to make mesh tiles because that's something that the ancient computer thingy told us. Then we're also going to want distillation for a water sieve, which converts polluted water, which is like piss water, back into regular water using sand, which there's lots of sand everywhere. And it does produce polluted dirt. Then we're going to want a place to put the polluted dirt so it doesn't outgas. On top of that, we're going to probably want a liquid reservoir to be able to store water that is in cleaning process. And then on top of all of that, we're likely going to want like a bleach room, which then also means ventilation, possibly decontamination and carbon skimming. There's a lot that goes into plumbing. It's not a small project, it is a mega project. But it's one that we're going to embark on now. You want it there? No. So all of this project here is going to be set to 6, which is higher than the average. So we get it going. And then I'm going to want so I don't lose the bonus of a research room. Let's do it like this. That'll work. It's ghetto, but it will work. This is maybe not where our forever research room will be. Alright, now the printable. Curative tablets. Dirt. Yeah, I'll do tablets. In case I get food poisoning. Alright, so our water is mostly protected. There's not a lot of... I mean, there's a possibility, but not a high likelihood that a dupe goes in here and pees. It's very physically isolated from the rest of the colony, so you really have to make the effort. Which honestly reminds me of the few... I remember like news article about how like a drunk person like peed in the giant reservoir water supply of like a town or a city, and they like drain the whole thing, and it's like, you know, like birds and fish piss in that all the time. It might be a little weird that there's also like some drunk dude that peed in it, but it's like, come on. All water is piss. If you date back enough, right? Anyone that knows the water cycle knows, yeah, that water's been through a dinosaur before. Like, come on. It's not urea at that point. It's just water. The whole ocean is one giant toilet bowl, if you really want to be pedantic enough. Bothers me that the town did that. It's like, why? Like, what is this? To make people happy? Just say you did it and don't. Like, no one's... I don't care. Yeah, if the water supply is big enough, who cares? Exactly. It's not harmful. It's actually very wasteful to drain it all. Alright, we did get the park sign, and I have not yet made one. So let's do that before I forget, because God knows I will forget. So we're going to drop the park sign right there. Make it of not dirt. Make a park sign out of dirt. You know it's a real nature reserve when even the sign is made of dirt. It's funny, the thing about this bottled water is filtered dino piss. Yeah, I mean, it really is filtered dino piss. Everything is filtered dino piss. There's a finite amount of water in, ooh, fleeing. What happened to you? Wasn't temperature. What hurt you? I have no idea. Does Slogo mess with you? I don't even know. I'm so confused. Slogos are pacifists. The Pokeshell got angry? Is there a Pokeshell down there? Oh, that one. Ah, yeah. Because you have an egg nearby. Ah, I see. Alright, let's attack you. You were messing with my farmer. Prepare to die. Alright, there we go. So this is a nature reserve. It provides a +6 morale for passing through it. Which, yeah, you're going to pass through it. Constantly. And then I'm going to leave this row alone for now because I don't really care. Alright, so we just picked up plumbing. Cool. Oh, you know what? I don't need to be mining back walls. So leave the back walls alone because I don't need a bajillion tons of salt right now. My bad. We also now have access to the gum palms, which can be made into latex, which then can be made into rubber, which can then be made into gaskets, which is required for a lot of plumbing. So, part of the plumbing task here, in my opinion, is to get access to the gum tree here. To auto-harvest the gum trees when they're ready, so that we can, have more rubber when it comes time to building gaskets. And yes, can also be made into, like, swimsuits and rubber boots and things like that, yeah. So updating the priority. Build a plumbed bathroom and water filtration. Now some of the water filtration is going to be probably done in steps, where initially it might be a plumbed bathroom that just leads to like a germy polluted water reservoir waiting for me to have like a chlorinated room. It will be done in steps because doing it all at once is like a bit too much to handle all at once. So doing it piecemeal is way more affordable and reasonable in the long run. Alright, so we have access to this gum palm, access to this gum palm, and they're both set to auto harvest, and then we'll try to get access to this gum palm too. Oh, that's a lot of oxygen. Just checking the bubbles around here. It's getting higher pressure there as well. Oh, ridiculously high pressure oxygen. Talk about burst eardrums. Okay, there we go. So we have some gumwood. Gumwood can be pulverized in the plant pulverizer to yield latex, and the latex can be then processed by a vulcanizer to produce rubber. I'm not going to do that right now, but when we need gaskets for stuff for plumbing reasons or power reasons or whatever, we'll have access, we'll have the ability. Skills. No one. Okay. Now, very likely, we're going to want like a mesh door back there, a pneumatic door. So the plan is to keep a bathroom and then like separate from the bathroom to keep some sort of like water filtration room. All right, so what did we just research? We researched sanitation. So that gives us the lavatory, the sink, and the shower. And I'm going to get improved plumbing next. So improved plumbing will give us the liquid reservoir, which allows us to store water, like polluted water. So normally polluted water, when it's out in the open like this, will just start outgassing, and outgas is polluted oxygen, which is not ideal. So I'm going to store I'm going to basically pump fresh water into the bathroom and then store the polluted water to be processed once we have more progress made. You thought German water is fine to be cycled in the bathroom as long as they... Yes, you could, yeah. I don't have to filter it, but I want to. There's certainly a lot of shortcuts that you can take, and oxygen not included. It's not to say that I intend to take said shortcuts, though. Alright, looking at big picture here. I'm going to pause the game for a second. So almost all the biomes immediately around us are just like seawater coral biomes. There is some semblance of a biome over here, which looks colder, because that's cold water brine. I can't tell if that's going to be a new biome. And this looks like it's another cold water brine biome over here, because the granite over there is -5 Celsius. There is clampums here, which gives clams, gives pearls rather. So the clampums are giant clams, which will eat sand, produce pearls, and are like a plant, not an animal. Which is weird to think about, but like you farm them. A little reminder, she is asking this duplicant for pearls, and will give us flue coral seeds and gasket if we give it to her. Is there a way to filter seawater into freshwater? Yeah, desalination, but like it's not cheap, quick, or easy. It's power intensive and expensive, so you don't do it unless you need to do it. What are those angry fish with massive overbite? Well, surprisingly, they're not included. So some of the animals in here are included in this DLC. Some are DLC specific, some are not. And if you open up the database, it should tell you, I think, if they're DLC'd. So, like bloaters produce oxygen-eating waterweed plants, which are essentially like underwater lettuce. And then the massive underbite ones are probably pacu that you saw. I don't know where the pacu are, but pacu is not a new fish to this DLC, wherever the pacu is. But you have sequines, which are new, and the sequines produce ovaline, not Ovaltine, Ovaline, in the aquatic milking station, which can be processed into like caviar, you know, stuff like that. High quality food. Yeah, these are tropical pacu. These are the OG fish. They've been in oxygen not included forever and ever. And pacu are just like your standard oxygen not included. Well, this is a tropical variety. This would be a regular pacu. And they would be, you know, they're just for like fish fillet. As you can see, they eat stuff and produce polluted dirt. So unless you really want polluted dirt, they don't do a whole lot for you. Depends on whether you want to keep them or not, I suppose. Oh, I didn't mean to start digging that. You had an accident? Good for you. Right into the ocean. Yes. Well, that's why we protect our freshwater supply. Who did that anyway? RCV. Rayback? Who did that? What's confusing is there was visits remaining on the outhouse. It was unnecessary, to say the least. But we're gonna clean it up all the same. Alright, into the medicine tree. So let's get the sinks in here. And then the plumbing tree, we'll put the lavatories. And showers. And maybe I'll space them out a little bit. Just so that if we want to put decorations in here or something, I have the ability to. Because I don't need to put them all on top of one another. And the way these work is... liquid input goes below. Liquid output goes above. And I'm planning on having the dirty water come here, processed and pumped back here once clean, and then clean water pumped in once all this is built. Well, now I have a bunch of, well, I guess we're at overpressure. But a bunch of polluted water. The other thing we could do is to have a polluted water filter tank. So... something like this, where we can dump polluted water bottles in, and then pump the polluted water into the network. Something like that. I'll take sandstone, because I'm not ready for another dupe. So as far as research goes, we got filtration, which allows us to filter gases and liquids, and the sludge press, which separates mud and other sludges into their base elements, which is an Aquatic Planet Pack DLC content, because there is, like, polluted mud biomes and the like. And now we're going for a liquid reservoir, so that we can store liquids. Oh, great. You guys did a really good job there. Wonder if I can clean this up. Now, the germs aren't going to necessarily multiply in here. They're going to reduce over time. I'm not too concerned. I mean, I'm not making food out of this salt water, so it's not really an issue as far as I'm concerned. There be accidents. And I figure I might as well just put the oxyfern seed down here in the carbon dioxide pit that we've got. Maybe it will help out a little bit. You know, the other problem that we're going to have with this water pool is it is germy, and those coming out of it will be germy as a consequence. And I also miscalculated the depth of the water. So my efforts of removing the pollution is not going to work. It's fine. So just continuing the giant bathroom production project. This bottle dispenser doesn't really do anything anymore. It was just old. It was a sweep only, so it wasn't causing any harm, if you're wondering, because I hadn't queued any liquid to be swept. But if you weren't here at the start of the stream, it's just from then. Not planning on mopping it all up, but removing some of it would be nice. Now, we don't really have any sort of semblance of a power grid yet. We're running off of like a hamster wheel. So one of the issues that we're going to have is the physical power demands for like a properly plumbed network, which requires filtration and all, might be a little bit more than we can afford power-wise, but like that could be solved later on. So in the short term, we might have to run on the hamster wheel a bit extra, but like worst case scenario, that just raises our athletics so that we walk faster, which is not terrible. And slowly the germ count in here will go down on its own. Just, we're going to have some germy up here as a result. But we'll have a spot to dump it soon. The only actual problem with this layout I foresee, I'm actually going to get rid of this, is very likely we touch germs while bringing stuff there. So it makes more sense to have... is this siltstone? Okay, good, that's siltstone. It makes more sense to have that down here. So I'm going to have like an annex down here that does the same thing in a different spot. That way, when we get germy by dumping it off, we are forced through the sink zone to clean our hands. I think that's more sustainable long term. Trying to put all the salty snacks away. RCV is apparently very happy, as they have a their happy consequence going on right now. Sparkle streaking. Which gives +8 athletics, where you run super fast. And let's see. In and around the rest of the colony, yeah, things are looking fine. Our oxygen levels is fine. Breathability is 97%. Food's a little low, but I'm not too worried. I can always add in more farm plots if I think we're going to bottom out. And still working on that bathroom. Now, another thing we're going to want in the long run is bleach stone. To be able to produce chlorine gas, which is a natural disinfectant. And I don't have a known source of it yet. So we can't make a ton of progress on the filtration room until we find it, but I'm not in any urgent. Alright, that is a hot polluted oxygen vent. If you're wondering what I did was I made it an emergency, and as a result of it being an emergency, it triggers up here as an alert. This is a carbon dioxide geyser. I was just curious what they were, and you can kind of sneak it that way. Some of these neutroniums are just like tidal springs, which isn't... I mean, I don't need to do the emergency tool for that. They're a known factor. Those are the only two that I hadn't identified yet. All right. Thank you for tuning in to Oxygen Not Included Aquatic, which originally streamed live on Twitch. If you have any questions for me, let me know in the comments below. I'm not, however, looking for feedback. If you would like to catch a live stream of mine, Rhadamant.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you'd like to join my online gaming community on Discord, Rhadamant.com has a link to it, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching. Special thank you to my Twitch subscribers, Patreon patrons, and viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. Thank you so very much. I hope to catch you next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, my fellow duplicates.